Hi there, today we're unboxing a CCTV system. So this particular system is by a company called Hikvision. It's been sent to me by them for review purposes. Details are below in the description for anyone thinking of purchasing. Let's have a quick look at the actual packaging that you get. So the actual camera, got some details there regarding it. So HD video output, HDTVI technology, EXIR performance, IP67 waterproof and PIR detection. So basic details on the actual box for that. And this is the actual recorder. So it's the 7200 series. All comes nicely packaged. And they're provided a 6TB hard disk together with a coax cable to connect it. So this isn't an IP camera, just to note, and a power adapter. Okay, so I've laid out all the items you get in the packaging. Everything from here onwards is from the camera box. So the camera, obviously instructions and fixtures, and everything on that side is from the DVR box. So I'll quickly go through the items. So initially the power adapter. So the output on this, let me just show, is 12 volts, 1.5 amps. It's got an EU plug, which is no good for me, but I have an adapter here, so I can plug it in and plug it into our mains. The connector on there, slightly different, just to show. So it's got some little pins in there, so just to note that. Okay, it comes with a mouse as well. Very light feel to that, not really sort of mouse you'd use on a daily basis. This is sort of standard thing you get when you buy a DVR, because it's not a regular sort of thing you'd be using. You set up once, and once you've done that, it's very rare that you'd be going onto the system. Okay, in terms of actual cable length, reasonable amount there, so that's fine. Okay, you get two additional cables. One's a power cable for your hard disk, and the other one is a data cable that connects to the hard disk. Okay, and as well as that, you get 4 screws for mounting the hard disk. Okay, next, as part of the package, you get a CD. You get details on passwords, quick start guide, and quick user guide. So that's everything for the DVR. Now the actual camera itself, you get some fixtures for installing it. Analog camera, so this isn't an IP camera, it's an analog camera. So in quick start, quick user guide for an analog and analog speed dome. And this is a specific one for the camera, so the Turbo HD D8T-PIR series bullet camera, user manual there. Okay, and you've got a template as well for drilling and installing. So let me show you the actual camera. Very good build quality to it. That feels like a tough plastic actually, and the rest of it is metal, including, yeah, so all this is metal, but the top is plastic. Okay, let me give you a close-up of the front of it, if I can take the plastic off. So that's the actual lights that it gives off, and the PIR there, and the lens is obviously there. Okay, just to show the underneath of it, and some branding either side, and the bracket for mounting it. So once you've mounted it, you can adjust it like so. Actually feels really good. So you can see some of the cable in there as well. Once you've got it in position, just tighten it, and if you wanted to adjust it, you should be able to just turn it like so, and then lock this area into place. Now the back of it, if I loosen, you've got a padded area there, and obviously 3 holes for the fixtures, and obviously 2 ways of mounting this. So you can either go for this way, coming straight down, and then putting the connectors into a junction box, or you could just drill a hole directly into a soffit or something and get that fitted. So yeah, build quality looks good. Quite a large camera, I have to admit. Let me tell you the dimensions of it directly. So we're saying from this part to this part about 13 centimeters. Diameter there is 8, height here is approximately 8. And again, if you go by this, you're saying the actual camera itself is 14. So quite a large camera. And if I adjust the back bracket here and just straighten it up, just to give you an idea in terms of full length, there you go, 22.5. It's quite a bulky product. In terms of connectors, you've got your BNC connector there for your coax cable. Let me come in close there just to show that. Quality seems fine, seems quite good. And the power cable connector there. Okay, let's put that to the side. And finally, let me show the actual DVR recorder. So nice design to that. You've got a USB port at the front and some indicator lights here. So it looks like power, disk, and network. Okay, if we turn it, got some vents here. On the back, if I come in like so, you've got 4 video in, 1 video out, USB, HDMI, VGA, audio out, audio in, a LAN point, an RS485 point, the power connector, and an on-off switch. Pretty straightforward, really, to connect up. Another vent on this side, and just to note, the holes underneath are where you mount the hard disk. So obviously that hard disk goes inside and the screws are placed in these holes. Okay, simple as that. Next thing, I'll show you how to install the hard disk. Okay, so the DVR doesn't come with a hard disk pre-installed. So I'm going to install this one here. This is a 6 terabyte hard disk. Now there's a number of screws we need to remove. So 2 on each side. So here, here, and there. Let me make a start in removing these screws. Okay, so with all the screws removed, let's remove the cover. So that's the front. I'll put it down in this direction and we just want to pull it out like so. So there you go. Popped off. Okay, so we've got our 2 connection points here. Now, if I zoom in a bit on that, this one's for the power and this is for the data. So if I take the 2 cables, this is the data connector. Now that, with the metal side of it, clips in here. Okay, and the reason for that is so it clips into the point there. So when you want to take it out, you can just push down on there. That's how you know it's this one. Okay, and the other one, which is for the power for the hard disk, it's the white end here, and that goes like so. Simple as that. Okay, so let's make a start at installing the hard disk. So I've opened the cover up slightly, and if you check around, you'll see the connection points there. So the power point goes there and the data point goes there. Now, if I zoom in a little bit there, you can see there's a slight angle on there. And if you look at the actual connector, which is there, so you can see the angle just over here. And that's how you can tell the end it plugs in. And if I show the actual data connector, that has a slight angle on there as well. And if I can get a good view of that, so there you go, the 2 angles. So pretty straightforward. Let me zoom out now. It's just a matter of taking it, one end goes plugging in there and the other end goes looking at the actual point just there. So there you go, as simple as that to get it connected. Okay, so let's make a start at attaching the hard disk to the case. So pretty straightforward. you've got 4 holes on the actual hard disk, and if I flip the case over, and there you go, that's where we want to position it, and then attach the actual screws that came for mounting it. So I've got one here. So there you go, the hard disk is now attached. If I flip it over, there you go, perfect. So next thing we want to do, if I zoom out, is put the cover back on. So if I grab that, so it's got a notch on there, you want to slide that back into position in the case. There you go, that's fitted back on, and I can tighten the screws back up. Okay, so there you go, all the screws are now secured on. Okay, so the hard disk is installed in the DVR. Next thing is, let's connect the system up. So one thing I haven't showed is the actual power adapter for the camera. So again, it's an EU plug, so I've got an adapter to enable me to use it. And let me show the actual output. So 12 volts, 1 amp on this. And the connector is more of a standard one, you see. So there you go. Okay, so straightforward on the camera side. So 2 connectors there. I'll plug in the power like so, and I've been sent a short coax connector here. It's a nice chunky cable there, really good quality one, but very short again, so simple to do, these connectors. So there's some pins on there. Let me zoom in so you can actually see. So the actual pins sit in like that, and you just twist it and it locks in place like so. So what you'd normally do when you install it, you'd have a waterproof box and you'd place these connector points within it, so that way it just maintains the protection for the cable. Okay, so that's the camera connected up. Next thing is obviously to plug it in over here, but on the actual DVR, if I show the connection on there, so video input, I'll plug this in. Doesn't come with any VGA or HDMI connectors, so obviously you've got to have your own. The mouse can be plugged in either at the front or back, but I'll plug it in at the back. And the power adapter, so that can be plugged in like so. So the only things for me to now connect up is the LAN port, and I'll use the HDMI connector. Okay, so I'm at my monitor now, and I've plugged in the DVR and camera, and obviously I've got a HDMI connector going into the monitor and my LAN cable. So I've just powered it on now, and it's just turning on. Heard a slight beep there coming from the system. Let's give it a moment. Okay, that's the OS starting up now. Okay, so the system's powered on, and I'm being asked to add in a new password. So if I left click on the mouse, and I'll type in password 123 and use the dollar symbol. Okay, do the same thing again, so password. Okay, IP camera password cannot be empty. Okay, we'll do the same thing there as well. Dollar. Okay, so I'm being asked for additional security questions. So your father's name, your father's name, your father's name. Let's see if we can just cancel that. Okay, the device is activated. Properly keep your password. Export the GUID file for password resetting. Let's say no for now. Draw an unlock pattern first. Okay, we can do that as the unlock pattern. Okay, language, go for English. Start wizard when device starts, we'll just say keep that ticked for now. Let's change the actual time zone. Okay, IP address is picked one up from DHCP. Okay, so this is enabling HIT Connect. We'll just leave that off for now. Server port, HTTP port, RTSP port, enable UPnP and enable DDNS. So we don't want to do any of that. Okay, hard disk is uninitialized, so we'll select that and click initialize. It will wipe the hard disk. Okay, there you go. Hard disk is initialized now and operational. Next. Okay, so it's picked up some other cameras that are on my network. So I'm not going to select them because this is the main one we're working on. Continuous motion detection. Start all day continuous recording of all channels. Say no to that. If I click there, start all day motion detection recording of all channels. So either option you can go for. Let's go for just the motion detection. I've said yes to that. Okay, so the system's set up now, pretty straightforward to do, and now we're presented with one of the cameras and the view from there. So one interesting feature about this actual camera, so if there's any motion detected, let me show there, a light starts flashing. So a bit of a deterrent actually, bit of a new feature I've not really seen on other cameras. So a good warning to someone, sort of gives you that feeling that you are being watched and obviously some sort of alarm's being alerted. So as you can see there, just my hand in the way, so I'll move my hand out of the way. Now if I right click, we've got some menu options, so I can right click anywhere for that. If I click on the camera, I've got some options just over here. Audio on, instant playback, let's let it go. And there you go, playback of the alert. That's quite useful. PTZ control, so if it was a pan, tilt and zoom camera. You've got a digital zoom if it supported that. Image settings, you can adjust the different options on there like brightness and contrast. Okay, the other options are grayed out, and you've got close. Okay, so if we go to the general options, I'll right click here, common menu, you can see a schedule. That's the schedule for the week with times as well, and you can change different options. So you can say, for instance, during certain hours you can have continuous recording going on, and during other times you can have motion alarms, motion or even an alarm going on. So if you had an addition on the system. Okay, let's go to parameters, general details about the camera and the stream, advanced details there, and holiday. This is to sort of indicate the days you don't want it to record and the system's disabled. Okay, let's go back, go to the menu, and this is what you've got there. Let's go to playback. You can play back any footage. Got an export option to export and to show some events there, so you can do a search. Okay, VCA. So this is quite an interesting option. So you can actually have things like plate search. So if you wanted to search for a particular plate, if it was recorded, it's a license plate of a car, and even people counting. You can see people entered an area or people have exited an area. So that's quite an interesting functionality you've got in there. Heat map as well. Okay, let's go back. Manual. So record analog is off at the moment. It's only on motion detect, but I can change that to turn it on so it's recording. So it's saying no alarm output available, so you can link it up to alarm so it goes off. Manual video quality diagnostics, so diagnosing any sort of issues you've got with the quality of the video. Let's go back. The hard disk, details regarding the hard disk. Let's click on general, go to advanced, used record capacity, just some details regarding it, and it's generally empty, just a little bit recording on there so far. Record, so this is the schedule we've already seen. Let's go back. Camera, so this is where if you had other IP cameras on your network, you can actually add them in, so it'll pick it up. So these are the current cameras I have in my property running on a different system, and it's picked them up, so I can add them in if I wanted to. You're not restricted to just using the cameras plugged in directly into the system. You can use other ones using OnVIF, so that's quite a nice facility on there. Okay, OSD, so that's the actual details you're seeing there. Can turn it off if you wanted to, but we'll leave it on. Always good to have the time and date on there. Image, so you can fiddle around with the quality there, so the brightness, contrast, saturation, hue, sharpness, and denoising. PTZ, this isn't PTZ, so if I click it, it won't do anything. So obviously you need a PTZ to do that. Motion, so this is an interesting one. You can actually say if you get motion in this area, for instance, so these areas that haven't been highlighted, if you get motion in there, I can clear that or go full screen. So we'll leave it at full screen. You can put in a privacy mask, so say you had it pointing in your garden at the front and it was covering a certain zone which you shouldn't really be recording, like your neighbor's area, you can blank it out with that, so that's really useful to have. Video tampering, so if anyone tries tampering with the video, it will detect it and sound an alarm on the actual recorder. Video loss, another alarm for that as well. VCA, some details there about the face detection and things like that, and vehicle detection. So all the different options there. You can enable it if you wanted. Video quality diagnostics. Very comprehensive list of options there. Okay, configuration. General, so general information about the actual system. This is what you sort of did when you're setting it up. DST settings, more settings there. Okay, network alarm, there's nothing connected to it. Live view, that's the view you get. You can do VGA, HDMI, some basic details there, pretty straightforward. Exceptions, so if these sort of things occur, so for example, notify surveillance center, send an email, so those sort of things, so you can get these sort of things going. Users, so you can set up extra users if you wanted to. Maintenance, okay, some device info, record, sorry, camera, record, so that's the frame rate, bit rate, and resolution we're getting, and encoding is continuous, and no to that. Okay, alarm there, network, and hard disk. Okay, log information, quite interesting. You can have all this logging in there. Import, export, upgrade. You've got defaults, let's do a reset, net detect. Okay, hard disk detect, system service, and finally shut down. So you can log out, shut down, or reboot the system. So there you go, pretty straightforward and very simple to set up initially. Okay, so I've turned the lights off in the room, and just to show the alarm mode on there, where it says motion detected, there you go, the light starts flashing away. And if it's dark, it gives a good indicator and probably a good warning that obviously there's activity there. So pretty good option really to have, especially around somewhere like a commercial property where you're a bit concerned about people coming into a certain zone. So very useful to have that option. Okay, let me show the other options on the menu. So you've got single screen, so you could pick one of the cameras just to appear, like so. You could go for multi-screen, so that's what we had initially, but you can change it so one camera is bigger than the other. So if I go like that, as you can see, you'll see a smaller view along the side, and one's the main one. Previous screen, so if you had other cameras, you can just flip between them. Start auto switch, so automatically switching. Start recording, so you can switch what mode you're in. Add an IP camera, playback, PTZ control, output mode. So just change slight quality on the picture, and auxiliary mode, auxiliary video, so switch the video output. So no to that. There you go, there's all the options you have available to you. Now let me just flip back to how it was, like so. So next thing I want to show is how to set up connectivity to your mobile phone. So if I go to configuration, let's go to network. Got some network details here, but let's go to platform access. So we saw this previously. So what we want to do here is enable it. And if we read this, to enable HIC Connect service, you need to create a verification code or edit the default verification code. The HIC Connect service will require internet service. Please read terms and privacy statement before enabling service. Use your mobile phone to scan the QR code to obtain terms of service and privacy statement. And in verification code, let's put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll tick the box here for terms and conditions and click OK. So next, let me show how to set this up on your mobile phone. So I've got my Android device here. I'm going to go to the Play Store and we're going to search for Hikvision CCTV app. Let me install that. Just give it a moment. Okay, so the app's installed. Let's click open. Okay, allow it to access. Select country or region. So I click there. Scroll down to here. United Kingdom. Okay, and log in. So let me register an account and we'll continue after I've done that. Okay, now you're at this stage. What you do, you click the apply, and what you'll notice is the status comes online now. So the next thing to do, if I bring the phone app here and click on add device and let it scan in the QR code, which is done, and I'll just click in add. Give it a moment. Okay, adding completed. You can change the name of the camera. So I'll just call it test. We'll save that. There you go. Okay, so now the app's installed. This is the icon that's installed on the page. Let's click it. This is what you're initially presented with when you open it up. There's our system there, test. If I click there, a small window appears and you can see the 4 cameras. Obviously only one's connected. If I just click there, opens it up into a bigger window. We can go to a single camera view if we wanted to by clicking there, or I can just tap it in there and that opens up. Got some menu options at the bottom, so we can change the quality. We can go to basic and then flip back to HD. Okay, then you've got a volume button. So if it had a microphone, you can listen in. You can pause the actual video or play. You can zoom in as well. So this is just a digital zoom. So if I go like that, you can also do it like that as well. And just to show, it's not like an optical zoom obviously. So the picture quality is going to be so-so. Okay, this is to grab a picture. And if I click on there, you can see the other pictures I've taken. Let's go back. Click here, you can initiate a record. And this is happening on my actual phone. Click there. There you go. Go back again. That's if you had pan and tilt. And let's go back in. Then you've got a microphone. If you wanted to speak through it, but there's no speaker or microphone on there. Okay. Click there, it will pause all the pictures. And this is if you had alarm output on there. Pretty straightforward. Let's click here. Playback as well. So this will let me flip through the switch, the actual footage we've got. Interface works quite well. So obviously it highlights in yellow all the recordings it's got. Let's go back. Share. You can obviously share with another person so they can see the pictures as well. Settings. Basic details there, and you can delete the device if you wanted to. Add to favorites and icon descriptions. Literally that's that. If I click here, there's another playback option. So obviously you can put in your date and the time you want to play back from. You can start playback. Okay, and they're recent live views, and this is the device we've got added in. Okay, then you've got messages down here. No messages at the moment, and more. So this is where you'll see the video and pictures you've taken. Manage sharing options, account management, settings. Let's go into there. There you go, quick summary of that. You can reset the device password, FAQ, help, feedback and about, and exit.
Okay, so one of the major features of this camera is the deterrent light at the front. So it works in conjunction with a PIR, which is just below the lens. Now it works as a deterrent because if there's any activity, the light will start flashing. So if I move my hand over, there you go, it just starts flashing away. And it is quite a bright light. So it acts as a good sort of deterrent if someone's perhaps in the evening approaching your property, and just acts as a warning. And this actual functionality is fully configurable from the DVR. So let me move over to DVR and I can show how to amend the settings on it. Okay, so I'm at my DVR console and there's the camera running. Obviously only one input coming in, nothing else is going in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to double click it, take it into full screen, right click and go to PTZ control. Now let me move this window to the side just to get a clearer view of what I'm trying to show. Now if you look over here, you've got configuration, and if I hover over here, you've got menu. So if I click on that, it'll actually bring up the menu for the camera. So these are the options you have available on there, and you can use these cursor keys to move up and down. Okay, so this option here, white light, that actually controls the lighting. So currently it's on alarm, so if there's any motion, let me move my hand over it, it will start flashing. Now the next one along, if I click right, is lighting, and you can pick different lighting modes, so either flashing or you could have a solid light if you wanted to. So when it's dark, you just have a solid white light come on. So let me turn the light off for a second. Room goes completely dark. Just give it a moment. And there you go. It just kicks in. And just to show, it's a very bright light. It's a bit of an evening light there. So quite a nice facility to have. Let's move on now. So if I click it again, and that's the flashing option. So that's what you have with that. Trigger mode. Now this is an interesting one. So this camera can work standalone with other devices. So it doesn't need to rely on a DVR to be connected to it. So if you had it with other systems, you'd have it in camera mode. But if you wanted the DVR to pick up the actual activity, then you'd put it into DVR mode. So by doing this, the DVR will actually be picking up and deciding what it wants to record if you want it to record. Okay, so if I now move over to lighting and show off, alarm, and that's what we want, alarm, DVR and flashing. So let's go to that, and if I click on the plus here, which is iris, it goes back, and what we want to do is save and exit. Okay, so now if I close that off, right click, go to menu, camera, motion. Now this thing here, the option false alarm filter, this is where the PIR comes into action. So if I click that, the alarm accuracy is related to the camera PIR range detection. So that's coming to use. So now if I move my hand over it, there you go, you can see it picking it up. So if I turn on apply, now it's come into effect. So it's picked up something's there and it's flashing away. Now you can filter this. So if I did that region there, let's say, hang on, let's blank out some of this and just say those regions we want to apply this. So let's give it a moment. Yeah, and I'll come in there and it's flashing. If I hold my hand there, let's give it a moment to stop flashing. You can just see it flashing there in the corner. I'll come in, nothing's happening. So if I drop my hand now, there you go. So that area's picked it up. Very good functionality here, really. So obviously you've got the mask area and you can say only activate on those areas, or just don't activate if you've got this area covered. So quite impressive functionality there. Okay, so the camera's set up outside with the light set to solid. So what happens when it's dark, it just stays permanently on, and this is the brightness level you get. Okay, now if there is any movement in the area, that's what you get. Okay, so I'm outside, camera's pointing into a dark area. It's in motion detection mode, so if there's any motion now in the zone, that's what happens. The light goes off as a deterrent, and you can customize the length of time you want it to go off for. So that was just 5 seconds.
Okay, so you've seen the unboxing and complete setup of the CCTV system. The camera is quite unique with the feature it comes with, the fact it's got the PIR and the warning light on there. Very innovative design on there. The fact that you could have it just coming on in the evening and staying on, and obviously flashing when there is an alarm or someone's walking past. You can also change it so it's just on the alarm setting. So if someone does come close to it, it just starts flashing away. Or if it's becoming a nuisance, you can just turn it off completely. So really cool idea here. So there you go. Details are in the description below for anyone thinking of purchasing. Thanks for viewing, and don't forget to like and subscribe.